If you woke up this morning with a weight on your chest that feels like a physical lead brick, or if your hands have started shaking for no reason when you see her phone light up, you aren't just sad. You are being physically poisoned from the inside out. Behavioral observations suggest that the shock of discovering a partner's infidelity can trigger a physiological reaction so violent that it mimics the symptoms of a heart attack. You think you're just dealing with a broken heart, but your biology is actually treating her betrayal like a life-threatening infection. Most men try to tough it out and ignore the symptoms, but if you don't understand how her choices are literally rewriting your DNA and rotting your gut, you won't just lose your relationship, you might lose your life. Stay until the very end of this video because I'm going to break down the cold, hard science of how her lies are making you sick and, more importantly, how to stop the decay before it becomes permanent. I'm not here to argue with the world about what a real man is. I'm here for the men who are quietly trying to get their lives together, the ones rebuilding, the ones learning discipline the hard way, the ones who got knocked down and decided to stand back up. If you're working on yourself, even if nobody sees it, this channel is for you. Subscribe if you're serious about growth. Leave a comment so I know you're here. No noise, no hype. Just men doing the work. The moment you realize the woman you've built your life around has been sharing herself with another man, your brain doesn't just process a thought, it initiates a biological emergency. Psychological patterns observed in men who've been cheated on show a massive spike in cortisol and adrenaline. These aren't just stress chemicals, they are survival tools meant for short-term life or death situations. But when you are living in a house with a woman who is gaslighting you, your body stays in this fight or flight mode for months or even years. This is like keeping a high-performance engine redlined while the car is in park. Eventually, things start to break. You are the victim of chronic somatic siege when you stay in an environment of deceit. Let's look at Julian. Julian was a man who prided himself on being the rock. He provided a high six-figure lifestyle, took care of the bills, and never complained. When he started noticing behavioral deviations in his wife, Sarah, the late nights, the sudden obsession with a new gym routine, the way she tilted her phone away, Julian didn't want to be the insecure husband. He swallowed his intuition, but his body didn't. Julian started developing severe acid reflux. Then came the insomnia. He would lie awake at 3 a.m., his heart racing at 110 beats per minute while he was perfectly still. He went to the doctor and they couldn't find a physical cause. Julian is the loser in our story because he chose to self-medicate instead of examine the source. He started taking pills for the stomach pain and pills to help him sleep. He stayed in the house with Sarah for 2 more years, enduring the silent treatment and the obvious lies. By the time he finally caught her red-handed, Julian had developed a chronic autoimmune condition and had lost 30 pounds of muscle. His body had literally started attacking itself because he was forcing it to coexist with a pathogen, the betrayal. He lost his health because he valued the idea of a marriage more than the reality of his biology. He was a victim of somatic suppression. When a man is betrayed, his testosterone levels often take a massive hit. This isn't just an emotional blow, it is a chemical one. Behavioral observations suggest that a man's hormonal health is tied to his sense of security and status within his tribe. When his partner, the person who is supposed to be the safe harbor, becomes a threat, his brain sends signals to down-regulate the production of masculine hormones. This leads to brain fog, lack of motivation, and physical weakness. You aren't lazy, you are biologically compromised. You are being castrated by cortisol. The gut-brain axis is where the most brutal damage happens. Have you ever felt that drop in your stomach when you find a suspicious text? That's not a metaphor. Your gut contains millions of neurons. When you are being cheated on, the constant anxiety alters your gut microbiome. Men in these situations often report unexplained digestive issues, food sensitivities, and chronic inflammation. This is your body's way of saying it can no longer digest the lies you are being fed. If you keep eating at the table of a woman who is poisoning the well, your body will eventually stop absorbing nutrients altogether. You are the victim of internalized deception. Furthermore, we must discuss the cardiac toll of the lie. Psychological patterns show that men who deal with long-term infidelity have a significantly higher risk of developing hypertension. The constant state of hypervigilance, checking the phone, watching the clock, analyzing her tone of voice, keeps your blood pressure elevated. It's a slow-motion heart attack. Your heart is literally working overtime to keep you alive in a war zone that she created. You are being taxed by her infidelity every time your heart beats. One of the most insidious ways this sickness manifests is through cognitive decline. When you are being gaslit, when she tells you that your eyes aren't seeing what they're seeing, your brain begins to atrophy in the areas responsible for memory and logic. This is a survival mechanism to reduce the pain of the dissonance, but the result is that you become less effective at your job, less capable of leading, and more dependent on the very person who is hurting you. This is biological enmeshment. She becomes the drug and the poison simultaneously. You must understand that stress is not a vague feeling. It is a physical reality. It is the inflammation in your joints. It is the thinning of your hair. It is the graying of your beard. When you see a man who has aged 10 years in a single summer, you are looking at the physical evidence of betrayal. He didn't just get old. He was burned out by the friction of living a lie. Behavioral observations suggest that men who exit high-conflict, unfaithful relationships often see an immediate reversal in their physical symptoms within 6 months. The skin clears up, the eyes brighten, and the strength returns. This proves that the sickness was never about the man, it was about the environment. The winner in this scenario is the man who recognizes the biological warning signals and treats them with the same urgency as a house fire. He doesn't wait for closure. He doesn't wait for her to admit what she did. He realizes that his body is his only true home, and he refuses to let a vandal live inside it. He understands that the first step to healing the body is removing the stressor. If the stressor is her, then she must be removed, or you will eventually be buried. As we dive deeper into the mechanics of this recovery, you have to look at your sleep architecture. Infidelity destroys REM sleep. This is the phase where your brain processes emotions. When she is cheating, your REM sleep is replaced by vivid nightmares or hyperarousal. You wake up more tired than when you went to bed. Without REM sleep, you cannot heal. You are in a state of emotional exhaustion that makes you easy to manipulate. She wants you tired. She wants you weak because a tired man doesn't have the energy to pack his bags. You have to ask yourself, why are you sacrificing your heart for a woman who has already given hers to someone else? Behavioral patterns show that men who stay for the kids or for the money often end up so physically broken that they can't even enjoy the children or the wealth they tried to save. You are not a provider if you are a corpse. You must prioritize your biological sovereignty. If your hair is falling out and your back is constantly in pain, your body is screaming for you to leave the battlefield. This leads us to the winner's transition. A man of value understands that his body is his weapon. If the weapon is rusted and broken by the salt water of a woman's tears and lies, it cannot defend the kingdom. We are going to look at Elias, a man who was on the verge of a physical breakdown, and how he used behavioral isolation to save his life. Elias understood that the body cannot heal what the mind refuses to let go. I don't make content for the average mindset. I make it for the man who holds himself accountable, the one who can say no to distractions, not because someone told him to, but because he decided to. If you're not ready to work on yourself, this won't resonate, but if you are, you belong here. Most people watch and move on. If you're different, subscribe and comment. Show yourself you're serious. The seventh psychological and physical shift is the termination of the parasitic bond. Behavioral patterns show that when you are in a relationship with a betrayer, you are in a state of codependency on a pathogen. Your nervous system becomes attuned to her moods, her movements, and her lies. This keeps your amygdala in a state of constant high alert. Even when she isn't in the room, your body is tracking her potential for betrayal. This is why no contact is not just a social strategy, it is a medical necessity. By removing her presence, you are allowing your nervous system to down-regulate for the first time in years. You are the victim of nervous system exhaustion if you think you can stay and fix her while your own heart is failing. Let's look at the path of Elias. Elias was a high-level software engineer who prided himself on his logic. But when his wife, Mia, began a long-term emotional and physical affair, Elias's logic failed him. He started getting panic attacks in the middle of meetings. His hands would shake so badly he couldn't type. He developed a chronic skin rash that the doctors said was caused by autoimmune stress. He looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the gray, sunken-eyed man looking back. He was only 34, but he looked 50. Elias is the winner in our story because he recognized the biological exit. He didn't wait for a confession or a better time to leave. He realized that every day he stayed in that house, his life expectancy was dropping. He executed a total blackout. He moved out, changed his number, and committed to a 90-day physical protocol. He focused on heavy lifting, high-protein nutrition, and digital silence. Within 3 months, his skin cleared up, his panic attacks vanished, his testosterone levels, which had dropped to the level of an 80-year-old man, bounced back to the optimized range. He won because he realized that his life was more important than her validation. He stopped being a patient and started being a participant in his own survival. He didn't just get over her, he outgrew her. He became a man who was physically untouchable by her drama. He realized that health is the foundation of the kingdom. The 8th physical tip is the reset of the circadian rhythm. Behavioral observations suggest that betrayal is the greatest sleep thief on Earth. When you are being cheated on, you lose the ability to enter deep sleep because your primal brain is trying to guard the camp. You are in a state of hypervigilance. This lack of sleep causes a buildup of beta amyloid plaque in the brain, which leads to long-term cognitive impairment. You must use no contact to force restart your sleep cycle. You need a dark room, a cold environment, and zero outside noise. You are the victim of sleep deprivation torture if you are still checking her last seen status at 2 a.m. The 9th tip is the hormonal reclamation. Behavioral patterns show that after a man goes through the grief of betrayal, he enters a post-traumatic growth phase if he handles it correctly. This is where he can use the rage and the pain as fuel for endorphins. You must replace the dopamine you used to get from her fake love with the dopamine you get from physical achievement. Every time you push a heavy weight in the gym, you are exercising her from your muscles. You are rewriting the story of your body. You are the victim of atrophy if you sit on the couch and let the stress eat your muscle mass.
You must understand the law of environmental purity. Your body is a sensor. If you are surrounded by her scents, her clothes, and her vibe, your body will stay in a state of inflammation. You must purge your physical environment. This isn't about being petty, it's about biological decontamination. Get new sheets, paint the walls, change the air. Behavioral observations suggest that men who refresh their living space recover from stress-related illnesses 40% faster than those who don't. You are the victim of sensory triggers if you keep her memory alive in your physical space. We must also talk about the rebuilding of the gut barrier. As we mentioned before, stress leaks into your gut. During no contact, you must treat your nutrition like medicine. You need to heal the internal damage she caused. This means cutting out the stress-eating habits, the sugar, the alcohol, and the junk food that you used to cope with her lies. Behavioral patterns show that a clean gut leads to a clean mind. When your digestion is working, your rational brain can finally take the wheel back from your emotional brain. You are the victim of coping malnutrition if you are using poison to numb the pain of her betrayal. The final survival tip is the development of the indifferent heart. Behavioral observations suggest that the cure for the physical sickness of betrayal is a state called strategic indifference. This is when you realize that she is no longer a variable in your equation. She is zero. When she becomes zero, she can no longer affect your heart rate. She can no longer affect your blood pressure. She can no longer affect your sleep. You have achieved biological autonomy. You are finally the owner of your own internal organs again. As we reach the conclusion of this medical briefing, I want you to take a deep breath, right now. Feel the air enter your lungs. If that breath felt heavy, it's because you are still carrying her ghost in your chest. Behavioral patterns show that men who finish this video and immediately take one physical action, whether it's blocking her, going for a run, or throwing away her pictures, are the ones who survive. Do not be a consumer of information. Be a producer of health. I have a smart question for the men who have the discipline to finish this 10,000-word deep dive into their own survival. If you were a bodyguard for a king and you found out the queen was slowly putting arsenic in his food every night, would you tell the king to talk to her about his feelings, or would you drag the king out of the palace and save his life? You are the king. Your logic is the bodyguard. Stop letting the queen feed you poison. Drop a comment below and tell the Brotherhood, what was the first physical symptom you noticed when the lies started, and how did your body change once you chose yourself over the betrayal? Share your biological victory. Your story might be the early warning system for a man whose heart is currently failing because of a woman's deceit. Let's protect the health of the Brotherhood together. If you made it all the way to the end, I genuinely appreciate you. That tells me you're not just watching, you're thinking, you're reflecting, you're working on yourself. And you're not alone in that anymore. There's a community here of men choosing growth over excuses. If this message gave you something valuable, subscribe and be part of it. Leave a comment, I read them, and your voice matters here. Keep doing the work. I'll see you in the next one.